Hello everyone! Alright, I'm going to try, this is just another recipe I'm doing on the fly, curry seitan wraps. So I'm going to make a curry seitan with my gluten flour here. This is half a cup I'm putting in. And I'm also going to make some flax wraps so that I can have that for dinner. I saw a video on YouTube. I've looked at a couple of recipes for how to make flax wraps. It looks pretty simple. So I'm going to do this and make a curry, like a roti flax wrap. Alright, so I have put in half a cup of gluten flour. You know what, I'm going to try to put about, this is my herbamare, sea salt infused with herbs and vegetables. I'm going to call that half a teaspoon. Oops. My all-purpose, Mediterranean all-purpose seasoning, which I really love the flavor of. I like a lot of spices, so I'm just going to do that. That's maybe another half a teaspoon. Some black pepper. Let's give it a few dollops. And now the curry. Now again, I haven't done this before. But I want this to be curry flavored, so let's add a good dose of curry. Okay, this is a teaspoon of curry. I'm actually going to add a bit more. Let me add 2. Oops, some of that's shaken out into the bowl. I could just take that little top off. Okay, I'm calling that's 2 teaspoons of curry powder. And make sure you have a good flavored curry powder. Some are not as strong as others. And I'm going to mix all of this together before I add any of my liquid. I'm just going to give it a smell. Smells of curry. Yum. Okay. So, let me get the water. Okay, this is still my half cup measuring cup, but I'm putting, this should be about 1/3 of a cup of water. Basically, you want just a little less water than the amount of gluten flour that you have. I still have a little bit left, so that if I were to mix this and things were not coming together well, I can either add more flour. But the best thing is, you know, you can always easily add more water. Okay, it's coming together, and it is, of course, like a yellowy color, which is the color of the curry. It's so amazing to me how gluten flour works. Like, it's so bizarre. Okay. It's like Play-Doh. I love it. It smells good. This is like a nice little curry ball of seasoning right here. Now, of course, I'm just making this for me and kind of as a test, so I'm not making a lot. But when you make this, you can obviously double the recipe. Okay, I'm going to be back with the flaxseed to try to make my flaxbread rolls while this is sitting for a bit. Now to make the flaxbread for the roti. And I have in here already half a cup of golden flax that I just ground myself. And I'm adding another half a cup. And I had the slightest bit of dark brown flax seeds, so I just had that added there. Now, I got basically a cup there. I still have a bit more of flax seeds. This will probably give me another cup. I got from my local bulk store for 56 cents. So it really is not hard to come up with cheap alternatives when you're looking at vegan cooking. It just means being creative. Now, I like flavor, so here's my herbamare. I'm just gonna, it's maybe half a teaspoon. My Mediterranean all-purpose seasoning again. A bit of that in there. Add some salt. Now, the awesome thing about cumin is it has that smell that just reminds you of roti and India and curry flavors. If you have any friends who are Indian, you know what I'm talking about. I'm going to put 1 milliliter to start anyway in there, and yeah, I don't think I necessarily need more than that. And a little bit of black pepper, because I'm going to be getting the curry flavor in the seitan. I don't need to overdo the spices in the flatbread, so I'm going to mix that up. And I'm going to add also maybe a little bit of oil. You don't have to do the oil step if you don't want. I'm just sort of following the recipe as I mentioned. I saw it online, and I'm going to give you the name of the person right now. ColorfulCanary is the woman whose video I saw with regards to this. So I'm just changing up the recipe slightly, adding a little bit of olive oil to that. And I've added my own different seasonings here. And I will add a bit of water. Hold on. Alright, I'm going to start adding water in here. This is a 25 millimeter spoon. I'm going to do this and see how it goes. So it appears that for 1 cup, 50 milliliters of water is good. I don't know if this is too wet. I'm soon going to find out. I think you have to let it sit for a bit, and from what I'm fairly certain I saw in the video, it looked a bit wet, and flax, absorbs and becomes gooey, absorbs liquid, sorry, and becomes gooey. So I'm going to let this sit for a bit, and now I'm going to get started on the next part for my seitan. Okay, this is what I have here, and it's been sitting for a while. I'm going to break it into 3 pieces, and I hope this works. It's sort of gooey but firm. And I hope I'm going to be able to get 3 wraps out of this. I'll add a little more to this one. So I'm just going to start. I've got some flour spread out on my stovetop, a little oil in my hand in case it's like too gooey. And I have the flour spread out here to help with the rolling. I'm just going to start. If you see this, it means that it worked out. If you don't see it, I'll skip this part altogether. Maybe I need to have them bigger. I don't know. You're supposed to make them very thin, from what the recipe calls for. And it's just a bit of a challenge, I think, that's all. But I'll keep going. Okay, it's not particularly the sexiest wrap I've ever seen, but you just have to keep working it until it's thin. And I think the key is to have enough starch flour on your thing. Now, obviously, if you have, some sort of a flour, gluten intolerance, you don't want to use regular flour. You can use any other flour that's not gluten. Just try to get them out, roll them out as thin as possible. Of course, I'm making curry seitan. I never know how to say that. So I don't think that the gluten, if you're watching this recipe, is a concern for you. Okay, I'm going to try to work this one a little more, then I'm going to do the third one. Now, these are not the sexiest flatbreads you'll see, but I know parts could be thinner. Just leaving it like this. Practice makes perfect. Hopefully you guys are better at rolling out bread dough or any kind of dough than I am. I'm going to now boil my seitan, and I'll be back in a moment. Now that you have your water boiling, take your seitan that has been sitting and resting, and I just pull it into pieces and drop in the water. You're going to let that boil, depending on how big the pieces are. I'm going to let this boil, I'm going to say 25 minutes, just to be certain. In fact, maybe I'll put it down to like a lower boil. I'm going to let that come to a boil, and then I'm going to lower the heat, and I will be back in 20 minutes. Okay, it's on a low boil now, so it's just about medium. What I'm going to do, just to enhance the curry flavor, is just put a couple dabs of curry in the water. Not more than that, because I'm going to add this to some chickpeas and stir fry it, and I'll definitely put curry in that. So that's not necessary, but just to make sure you enhance the flavor a little bit. Okay, now turn on your stove, put a little bit of oil in your skillet, some coconut oil, whatever oil you like to use, and you're going to take your flat flaxbread pieces and put them in here and basically lightly fry them so that you have both sides done. You're going to just fry this on both sides a little bit. It's too early to turn it, but just want to make it a little, oops. Be delicate with it, of course. And I'll show you what it should look like in a moment. Okay, this is my seitan, boiling up nicely. It's expanded, and this is what my flatbread looks like. And now that I have them all lightly grilled, this is what they look like, and it's time for me to take my seitan, and I'm going to cut it into pieces, and I'm going to fry it, add my seasonings. So at this point I'm treating it just like it's meat. I'm going to slice it up, as you can see right here. It's still a bit hot, so you can always wait a little bit before you do this. And I used coconut oil in the pan, but you can use canola oil if you like. I used the refined coconut oil because that one doesn't taste like coconut, and my daughter does not like coconut flavored oil. So use what you like, but there you go. Just put it in the pan. It should be in a medium heat. It's steaming up pretty good, but it's not burning. I'm adding a little bit more of my refined coconut oil and just mixing this around, and I'm about to add some other stuff to this. So here is some garlic and tomatoes and mushrooms. I'm going to add that to the pan. This smells so good. Okay, so now that you've stir-fried that, you're going to add in as many chickpeas as you want. I'm doing about half of a can. Smells delicious. I'm going to put a little bit of the water and the chickpeas. Hold on. Okay, now that I have water in there, I'm going to add some curry. This is not going to need a long time to cook. I'm just adding some of the curry flavor, and I'm actually going to add a bit more salt because I found that the seitan could have been saltier. But look at that, it just honestly smells amazing. Alright, so now that you've simmered this down just for about 5 minutes, all you need to do is add some of this to your plate with your flaxbread roti and enjoy. There you go. You can add anything else you want to it. You can roll this up into one wrap. I'm doing this one-handed because I have the camera off the tripod. You can roll it like that and eat it, or the way people like to eat roti is you can just break off pieces of the bread, dip it into your curry mix, and eat and enjoy. Okay guys, I will just let you know how this is in a moment. Okay, this was really, really delicious, guys. A truly amazing meal, and it's like a texture of a curried chicken, and you certainly don't miss eating the meat at all. It's great. I really hope that you guys try this, and if you do, let me know. Thanks for watching, as always.